Hello students, welcome back. This is the 11th tutorial class on analog communication, and this class will be presented by myself, Dr. Sudhi Mondal, Assistant Professor of Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering from Jalpaiguri Government Engineering College. Coming to the content of this class. In this class we shall discuss some important topic related with the FM or PM. Okay, first of all we shall cover the interference effect, how FM or PM will behave in presence of interference from the adjacent channel, that will be discussed. And to overcome this effect, we can impose pre-emphasis or de-emphasis circuit in case of FM. Okay, and we shall also cover the operating principle of these circuits. Next, we shall observe or discuss the immunity of FM and PM against the non-linearity of the device. Okay, and from there we can conclude that FM or PM is far better than the AM in case of immunity against non-linearity. Okay, after that we shall cover the threshold effect that has been observed in FM. Okay, and what is the necessity of this threshold effect, that will be discussed. And finally we shall discuss the FM broadcasting system, that means FM stereophonic sound system, how it operate, that will be covered. Okay, so coming to the first topic, that is the interference effect. So interference means that FM or PM or any kind of signal is interfered with an unwanted signal from its adjacent channel, that is called as the interference effect. Okay, so let's see how FM or PM will behave in presence of small signal interference from adjacent channel. Okay, so let us consider that an unmodulated carrier is represented by CT, whereas interference carrier is given by IT. Okay, so CT can be written as A cos omega CT. Okay, whereas A is the maximum amplitude of the unmodulated carrier, and IT can be written as I into cos omega c plus omega t. Okay, its frequency is not exactly same as the carrier. There is some kind of change that is denoted by omega c plus omega. Okay, and its maximum amplitude is given by capital I. Okay, so the CT and IT, this one actually the combined carrier signal, or you can say that received signal. So that can be represented by RT. So RT equal to CT plus IT. Okay, so RT is A cos omega CT plus I cos omega C plus omega T. Okay, now it can be expanded in this using this equation. So A plus I cos omega T into cos omega CT minus I sin omega T into sin omega CT. Now using trigonometry identity, we can write like this: RT equal to ERT into cos omega CT plus phi dt, where ERT is the amplitude. Okay, and phi dt is the phase difference. So how can we write phi d? Phi d is nothing but tan inverse y by x. That means I sin omega t, that is y, and x a plus I cos omega t. So I sin omega t by a plus I cos omega t. So that is the phase difference. Okay. Similarly, what is the amplitude? Amplitude is nothing but root over y square plus x square. So root over a plus I cos omega t whole square plus I sin omega t whole square. That is the ERT or amplitude. Okay. So right now we are mainly focused on the phase difference. So phase difference is the tan inverse I sin omega t by a plus I cos omega t. Now suppose the amplitude, maximum amplitude of the interference signal is very less compared to the maximum amplitude of the original unmodulated carrier signal. Okay, that means we are assuming that interference is small compared to the original carrier. Okay, so we can easily write that I by A less than 1. So by using this condition, so phi dt can be further written as or approximated by using I by A into sin omega t. Okay, so by using this approximation I by A less than 1, if we using this approximation in this equation, so we get phi d by t, phi dt equal to I by A into sin omega t. Okay, Now this is the phase difference. Okay. Now, uh, if the output of the modulator, if the output of the the output of YDT of phase modulator will be, let us consider that the input to the phase modulator is RT. Okay. And output of the phase modulator is YDT. So as the phase modulator extract the phase difference, that means the output will be nothing but phi dt. Okay. So we can write that output of the phase modulator will be I by A into sine omega t. How that is applicable for the PM. Moreover, we are already aware that FM and PM are analogous to each other. Okay. So that means the derivative of dx dt for the FM is equivalent to the xt for PM. So sorry, the second equation will be the for PM. Okay. So therefore we can write that the output of YDT of frequency demodulator, where the input of the frequency demodulator is RT, then the output will be, or YDT will be, phi d dot t, or d phi d t by dt. Okay. So you can write that y dt, that means output of the respective demodulator, will be I by a sine omega t, that is for PM, that is for PM. Okay, I by a sine omega t. But if we are considering the FM, that means we need to use the derivatives, first order derivative. Okay. So we get the derivative of I by a sine omega t, that is nothing but I omega by a into cos omega t. So that is for FM. So the output will be y dt equal to I by a sine omega t, that is for PM, and I omega into a cos omega t for FM. Okay. So here you can see that output is inversely proportional to the amplitude of the original unmodulated carrier signal. Okay. Now if the value of A is very large, then we can easily neglect the interference effect, or we can easily neglect the amplitude of the I. Okay. So we shall always prefer the large amplitude of the original unmodulated carrier, or the large value of A. Okay. So now here there is important fact that is known as the capture effect. So whenever there is two FM transmitter and uh, which are transmitting in adjacent channel, so in that scenario, what will happen, that the receiver will try to understand that stronger carrier effectively suppress the weaker carrier. Okay. And this suppression of weak interference is known as the capture effect. Okay. So whenever there are two FM signal are parallelly transmitted, one can be considered as the interference. Okay. But the if the transmitter which have the stronger carrier, that will be accepted, and others will be suppressed by the stronger carrier. Okay. And this process, or this phenomenon, is known as the capture effect. Why? Because as we already told that where the amplitude is large, in that scenario we can neglect the interference effect. Okay. So here the receiver will consider that the stronger FM is the original, and the other one is the interference. Okay. So that is the capture effect. Okay. So you can see that the interference value of the interference is I by a into sine omega t for PM, and I by omega in I by sorry I omega by a into cos omega t, that is for FM. Okay. So that is for FM and PM, or angle modulation case. Let's see how interference behave in case of AM. Okay. So in case of AM, the combined signal can be written as the like A plus xt into cos omega ct plus I cos omega c plus omega t. Okay. Now RT can be expanded further: A plus xt plus I cos omega t into cos omega ct minus I sin omega t into sin omega ct. Okay, so here RT equal to ERT, again using trigonometric identity, ERT into cos omega ct plus phi dt. So here ERT is the amplitude, or the you can say it as the envelope. So envelope is here a plus xt plus I cos omega t whole square plus I sin omega t whole square to the power half. Okay, so that is the, you can see here. So this one is the y and this one is the x. So root over x square plus y square. So root over a plus xt plus I cos omega t whole square plus I sin omega t whole square. Okay. Now again, if you are considering small scales interference, or I less than one, less than a, so in that case we can easily neglect the higher order term, and this above equation can be approximated by using this equation a plus xt plus I cos omega t. Okay, so that is the envelope for the AM after the demodulation. Okay, so you can see that the output of the AM demodulator consists of interference part. Okay, that means ERT, which always depend on the I. Okay, we cannot neglect by using the others condition, like if if value of a is very large, then total output will become zero. This condition will be not applicable in case of AM. Okay, so you can say that for larger value of a we cannot neglect the interference in case of AM. Okay, so that is the main disadvantages of AM. Okay, that means here we get an important conclusion that in case of AM the interference is very large. Okay, so whenever you tuned a AM radio and FM radio, you will find that the sound quality for the AM is very high. Okay, or better over the AM, where AM is quite susceptible for interference. But here you can see that in case of FM and PM, the interference is much less. If we are using this condition I less than this a, in that case we are you can neglect the interference effect. Okay, so hence we can say that angle modular system are much better than AM at suppressing weak interference I less than a. And it has been observed that the interference level for AM and FM is 36 dB and 6 dB respectively. You can see that interference level for AM is very large, whereas interference level for FM is very low, only 6 dB. So obviously the sound quality for FM will be far better than AM. Okay, now so now if you are assuming the maximum amplitude of sinusoidal signal or sin omega t as 1, so you can write that maximum amplitude of the interference can be given as mod y dt equal to I by a for PM and I omega by a for FM. Okay, so you can see that if you now if we are making a plot uh, against omega with interference amplitude, so you can see that in this equation there is particularly for PM ydt value is independent of omega. That means the value of ydt is constant. Okay, so here you can see that the interference value for PM is thoroughly constant, whereas in case of FM the value is very low in case of when the value of omega is low. Okay, but whenever the value of omega is gradually increasing, its value is increasing linearly. So at higher frequency the respective interference is very large, so that is the main deviation for FM and PM in with respect to FM and with respect to interference. Okay, so you can say that um, you can see that at lower frequency interference amplitude is very small for FM, but at a higher frequency interference increase linearly for FM. That is the main disadvantage. So you can see that at higher frequency the interference gradually increasing. Okay, so basically the APM PM has this advantage, which its interference is very interference is constant. Okay, so to overcome this disadvantage of FM, we can use another circuitry, extra circuitry, that is known as the PD circuit or P emphasis or D emphasis circuit. Okay, and that will be discussed later or in the upcoming slide. Okay, now coming to the pre-emphasis or de-emphasis circuit. Okay, so we already know that the power of the audio frequency is mainly concentrated on the low frequency region. Okay. So for the voice, the main frequency component will remain in the low frequency region. Okay. So therefore, if we are using the FM system, and if it operated at higher frequency, okay, so in that case, as the interference is large at the higher frequency, you already observed it, that means the noise will be larger. That means noise is boosted or larger than the signal power, as at higher frequency interference increase linearly for FM. Okay. So we already know that for any communication system, the performance can be measured in term of SNR, or signal to noise ratio. That means signal power to noise power. Okay. So it is quite expected that signal power is very large and noise power will be very low. That means overall signal to noise ratio is very high. That is the expected scenario. But here, if we are using if FM is operated at higher frequency where the noise is boosted or noise is larger, as the interference is larger in the high frequency, so in that case the overall SNR ratio will be very low, and that will be a disaster. Okay. So to overcome this problem, we need to use the pre-emphasis or de-emphasis circuit. Okay. So what is pre-emphasis or de-emphasis circuit? Basically, emphasize, that means boosting. Okay. And de-emphasize, that means the uh, reverse operation or inverse operation of emphasize, pre-emphasis. Okay. So basically these circuit are nothing but a filter or amplifier circuit that help to boosted or suppress the certain frequency range signal. Okay. So at the transmitter, uh, we can use the pre-emphasis circuit. Okay. So pre-emphasis circuit can be used before the modulation. Okay. So before, if you are using the pre-emphasis circuit before the modulation, so what will happen, the high frequency signal which have the weaker amplitude, that will be boosted. Okay. By the pre-emphasis circuit, and let us consider that its transfer function is HPF. Okay. So what we are doing here, that the we are amplifying the higher frequency component of the audio signal. Okay. But it should be noted that we are not boosting the noise. Okay. But we are only boosting the higher frequency audio signal. Okay. As the noise has been incorporated in the channel, and we are using the pre-emphasis circuit before the modulation, so that's why noise will not boosted. Only signal power will be increased, but noise power will be remain same. Okay. So by using this kind of pre-emphasis circuit, we are increasing the SNR. Okay. So similarly, at the receiver end, the demodulated signal is passed through a de-emphasis circuit, and where the higher frequency component, that means beyond the 2.1 kilohertz, will be suppressed. That means that is the reverse operation of the pre-emphasis circuit, and the transfer function of the de-emphasis circuit, HDF, can be written as like 1 by HPF. So the operation of de-emphasis circuit is reverse of the pre-emphasis circuit. Okay. So here it is written that you can see that as the noise enter into at the channel end, so noise are not boosted in the pre-emphasis circuit, but at the receiver end high frequency noise are attenuated. Okay. So when in the de-emphasis circuit, noise are already attenuated. So as the most noise power is concentrated in the higher frequency of FM. Okay. So therefore the overall high frequency signal is increased by pre-emphasis circuit, whereas the high frequency noise power has been reduced by the de-emphasis circuit. It is very interesting. You can see that signal power can be increased in two way. Either we can use the increase the signal power, or you can reduce the noise power. Okay. But using pre-emphasis circuit, we are increasing the signal power, and using de-emphasis circuit, we are reducing the noise power. So overall the signal SNR ratio increased significantly after using the pre-emphasis or de-emphasis circuit, and that is the great advantage of using PDE in FM. Okay. So by using PDE, we are achieving interference level flat at the respective curve, interference curve. Okay. So that is the main advantage of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis circuit. You can see that pre-emphasis circuit here, you can, before the frequency modulator, we are using the frequency pre-emphasis circuit, and after the frequency demodulator, we are using the de-emphasis circuit, and ultimately we are getting the original message signal. But the main gain is the uh, increase in the SNR ratio. That is the main advantage. Okay. And the flat response in the respective interference curve. So that is the necessity of using PDE in case of FM. So That is the circuit diagram for PMPC circuit. You can see there, this is nothing but one type of bandpass filter, and this one is the circuit diagram for the DMPC circuit, which is the inverse operation. Here you can see that we are boosting the higher frequency component. Okay, and here you can see that we are reducing the higher frequency component. Okay, so overall performance of the DMPC circuit is the inverse of the PMPC circuit. Okay, so that is for PMPCs and DMPCs. Now we are dealing with another important topic, that is the immunity of angle modulation technique against the non-linearity of the device. Okay, so a very useful feature of angle modulation is that the amplitude of the modulated signal is constant, and it makes less susceptible to the non-linearities or distortion. Okay, so it is very important that in case of angle modulation like FM or PM, the amplitude of the carrier is constant, whereas the frequency or phase has been varied accordingly to the message signal. So by using this concept, we can clearly observe that the FM and PM are less susceptible to the nonlinearity of the order the distortion. Let's see how can it can be concluded. So consider an nth order nonlinear device. Okay, so in case of nth order nonlinear device whose output can be written as like this: yt equal to a naught plus a1 st plus a2 s squared t plus it will be continued up to nth order, that is an s to the power nt. Okay, so in case of FM, we are already know that FM can be represented by st, that is a cos omega ct plus kf at, where kf is the frequency sensitivity and at is the integration of xddt. Okay, so that is the equation for the FM. So using the trigonometric identity, we can write the uh, above equation like this way. So this is the c naught plus c1 cos omega ct plus kf at plus c2 cos 2 omega ct plus 2 kf at, like plus c3 cos 3 omega ct plus 3 kf at, like this way. So you can see that this one is the DC component, and for if the omega c is large, this part is the original FM, and this one is the FM with the higher order carrier, that means harmonics of FM. Okay, so if the value of omega c is quite large, so we can use different bandpass filter to separate them, and we can easily get the original FM signal. That means ultimately the nonlinearity of the device does not affect so much. Okay, because we can easily separate it out the original FM. Okay, now let's see if it is applicable for FM or not. Okay, so let's consider that we are dealing with third order nonlinear device whose output can be written as like a naught plus a1 st plus a3 s3 sqt. Okay, that is the third order nonlinear device equation. And if you are putting the value of, or if you are the substituting the value of DSBSC signal, like, which is xt cos omega ct in the earlier equation, and using the trigonometric identity, we are getting that value of yt can be written as a naught plus a1 xt plus 3 aq4 aq by 4 xqt into cos omega ct plus aq by 4 xqt into cos 3 omega ct. So you can see that a naught is the basically DC component, whereas this part a1 xt cos omega ct, this one is the original am, but it is already multiplied with the another part, that is 3 aq by 4 into xqt. Okay, so if you are using a bandpass filter whose center frequency is omega c, and so what will pass, it will pass this term only. Okay, a1 xt 3 aq by 4 xqt. Okay, so you can see that apart from the original a1 xt, there is another component 3 aq by 4 xqt, so that is the distortion. Okay, so here you can see that um, the original envelope is distorted by 3 aq by 4 into xqt. Okay, so in case of FM, this significant amount of distortion is present in the envelope, as we are dealing with the amplitude. Okay, but here you can see that by using the simple bandpass filter, we can easily suppress the others component, but here you cannot suppress others component by using a simple bandpass filter. So but from this you can easily conclude that FM is more noise immune due to the non-linearity of the system than AM. Okay, so it is very important conclusion that is also applicable for that why FM sound quality is far better than the AM. One is the adjacent interference is very low, and another is the it is noise immune due to the nonlinearity of the system. Okay, so for these two reasons, FM is far better than the AM. That's why normally in the to prepare the audio signal to transmit to or to broadcast the audio signal, we are mainly prefer the FM. Okay, now coming to the next topic, that is the threshold effect in FM. So in case of FM, uh, the signal level in case of FM, where the signal level is well above noise, the received carrier to noise ratio and the demodulated signal power to noise ratio are basically related with each other. Okay, so what I'm saying that the output signal to noise ratio and original carrier to noise ratio. Okay, after transmission, the receiver will receive. Okay, so the received carrier to noise ratio and original output of the demodulated signal power to noise power, that is known as the S by N, and received carrier to noise ratio, that is denoted by C by N. Basically, those are related with each other. So here you can see that S by N equal to 3 beta square by into C by N. Okay, so and that means the received carrier depending on the received carrier to noise ratio, the signal SNR of the overall system is also change. Okay, so above expression however does not apply when C by N ratio decrease below a certain point. That means there should be minimum amount of received signal in the receiver section. Okay, so there is a threshold point, and below the threshold point this condition does not applicable. Okay, and below this critical point you can see that we can find that S by N ratio decrease significantly. Okay, and this is known as basically the FM threshold effect. Here you can see that this graph basically denote the output SNR versus input CNR. Okay, so the variation of output SNR versus input CNR. So you can see that this one is basically the threshold region, and below the threshold region the SNR change drastically. Okay, it is always expected that SNR value is quite large. Okay, but below the threshold point the SNR gradually fall. Okay, you can see that FM threshold is usually defined as the carrier to noise ratio at which demodulated S by N fall below 1 dB, fall 1 dB below the linear relationship. Okay, so so that is the point. Okay, so below FM threshold point, noise signal may instantly have amplitude greater than the unwanted signal. Okay, so what is the significance of this region? That means here noise amplitude may be greater than the signal or demodulated signal. So that is not expected. So that's why we are preferring this operation of FM above the threshold. Okay, so yeah, and moreover, if the noise signal instant greater than the amplitude of the original signal, so what will happen? We shall observe a change in the FM demodulation, and that is known as the click noise. Okay, so this is basically the threshold effect in FM, which is how can we define it? So basically, FM's operation should be operated above a threshold region with respect to input CNR, and this threshold can be defined as that it is the carrier to noise ratio at which demodulated SNR fall 1 dB below the linear relationship. That is known as the threshold point. Now, coming to the FM broadcasting system. Okay, so for FM broadcasting, normally we prefer 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz, and radio spectrum with 200 kilohertz separation and bandwidth of 75 kilohertz for FM. Okay, and for giving natural effect, we normally prefer stereophonic FM system. Normally, natural effect, that means we have left ear and right ear. Okay, so to understand that natural to understand the uh, direction of the sound, or the to understand the natural effect of any audio, or that there are slightly different uh, signal, those are approaching in our left ear or right ear. So by using this concept, we are designing the FM broadcasting system. Okay. So for to give the natural effect, we are using the FM stereophonic sound where two audio signal are combined. Okay, so one for the left ear, another for the right ear, and these two audio signal are combined and then modulated for this space, for getting the special effect. Okay, for to getting the 3D effect, to getting the better sound quality. For those cases, we are using the stereophonic FM system. Okay, earlier system are based on basically monophonic sound, where there is only one headphone or speaker. Okay, so there is no two difference, no difference like signal for the left microphone, left speaker or right speaker. But in case of stereophonics issue, we can use two different signal for two speaker. Okay, so the monophonic receiver are same as the super heterodyne receiver, except intermediate frequency is 10.5 kilohertz and envelope detector is exchanged by PLL. Okay, so the monophonic receiver are same as the super heterodyne receiver of FM, except intermediate frequency is 10.5 kilohertz and the envelope detector is extended by PLL. Okay, so in case of stereophonic FM broadcasting, we are using two audio signal. We are already discussing it, and these two audio signal are slightly different, and we are naming it as L and H. So L stand for, sorry, L and R. Okay, so L stand for L left microphone and R stand for right microphone. Okay, so older monophonic system are also compatible with this sound of this stereophonic sound system, but here obviously stereo effect will be absent. Okay, so in case of monophonic sound system, we are basically receiving L plus R, not L and others R. Okay, so in case of stereophonic, we are receiving different two signal L and R, but in case of monophonic system, we are only receiving L plus R. And let's see, so what will happen. So you can see that this is basically the block diagram of stereophonic FM transmitter, and initially L and R are added and subtracted. So here initially L and this one is the R. So here is the adder and subtractor. Initially we are making L plus R, and here we are making using subtractor L minus R. And next those two signals are passing through the pre-emphasizer circuit. Okay, so after using this pre-emphasis and the pre-emphasis circuit, we are getting L plus R dash, and we are also getting the L minus R dash. Okay, and next what will happen, that one part, that means lower signal L minus R dash, or the difference, this pre-emphasized signal has been demodulated. Has been DSBSC modulated with a carrier of 38 kilohertz. Okay, and you can see here, you can see that this one is the modulated by 38 kilohertz up. And how can we get this 38 kilohertz? So initially there is a local oscillator that is generated 19 kilohertz, and after using the frequency doubler circuit, it will become 19 into 2, that is 38 kilohertz. And we are also using the 19 kilohertz signal as a pilot carrier. Okay, that will be also sent for the further modulation purpose. So the emphasized signal, emphasized signal, we are sending L plus R directly. Okay, so we are mainly dealing with three signal. One L plus R dash, that is the emphasized L plus R signal, and one another is the DSBSC modulated L minus R dash. That means L minus R into cos omega ct. Another one is the output of the local oscillator, that is the alpha into cos omega ct by 2. Okay, so we are getting all these three signal. So all these three signal are combined by using an adder circuit. Okay, so this composite signal now modulated by using FM modulator, and further it will be sending for the transmitter. Okay, so you are getting, you can see that L plus, again I am saying that there are three type of signal we are sending: L plus R dash, L minus R dash into cos omega ct. Now the question arises, why do we are using DSBSC, that is the amplitude modulated signal, where we are using the FM modulation. Yeah, we are already know that if you are multiplying cos omega ct with the with this signal, that means the spectrum will be shifted. So for the only that purpose we are using the DSBSC modulation. That means to shift the spectrum into the others region, and so that they will not overlap with each other. Okay. Okay, let's see. So originally L and R, these are the two signal. After using the adder circuit, it will become L plus R, and if, after using a subtractor, it will become L minus N, and then we are using P emphasis circuit, and it will become L plus R dash and L minus R dash. L minus R dash is originally modulated with DSBSC modulator, and next we are sending three composite signal, that is those are L plus R dash, L minus R dash into cos omega ct, and a pilot carrier, that is alpha cos omega ct by 2. Okay, and those composite signal are sending to the FM modulator for the further transmission. Yeah, you can see that this is the composite baseband spectrum for the FM stereophonic broadcasting signal. You can see here that this one is the L plus R dash. It is original signal, and it occupies the lower frequency region. And here you can see that this one is the pilot carrier. Okay, so alpha cos omega ct by 2, and this one is the L minus R dash into cos omega ct. That means original L minus R dash spectrum has been shifted to the 38 kilohertz frequency spectrum. That means this was USB and LSB. Now these two whole spectrum has been modulated by FM. Okay, fine, fine. This is the composite baseband spectrum. Okay, now this one is the transmission part. So let's see how what will be the receiving part. So receiving part is very simple approach. So we just this is the reverse operation of the earlier cases. So you can see that we are using a FM demodulator. So after FM demodulator, we are also getting three part. Okay, so we need to separate it out them. So first of all, to separate out the L plus R part, so we are using a low pass filter, so 0 to 15 kilohertz. Okay, next to separate out the carrier signal, so we are using a another filter whose center frequency is 19 kilohertz. Okay, we are using another part, band pass filter. So to this band pass filter, what will happen, it will separate out this term. Okay, L minus R dash into cos omega ct. Okay, now yeah, to get the L minus R dash from this original signal, we are using this signal for the DSBSC demodulator as a DSBSC demodulator. Okay, now after that we are you are using de-emphasis circuit. So we are getting here L plus R dash, sorry, L plus R, here we are using L minus R, and after that by using adding and subtraction we are getting L, and here we are getting R. Okay, so what is happening now? Stereophonic FM receiving section is self-explanatory. After passing through the FM demodulator, three filters are used to separate out L plus R dash, L minus R dash, and pilot carrier. Okay, 38 frequency is achieved by doubling the frequency of the pilot carrier. Okay, now then this signal is used for synchronous demodulation of L minus R dash. Basically, we are getting L minus R dash into cos omega ct. So if you are multiplying this pilot carrier with again, so L minus R dash into cos square omega ct, and from there we can make easily separate out L minus by using a low pass filter, and we are getting L minus R dash. Okay, so then this three signal is used for then this signal is used for the synchronous demodulation of L minus R dash cos omega t to generate the L minus R dash. Now we are getting L plus R dash and L minus R dash, and those are de-emphasized to generate L plus R and L minus R. Then these two signals are added and subtracted. So if you are adding, so L plus R and L minus R, that means we are getting 2L, and if you are make subtraction, we are getting 2R, and we are getting two different signal. Those are been sending to the two different speaker, and we are getting the stereophonic effect, and ultimately we can easily avail the feature of stereophonic sound. So this is the block diagram of stereophonic FM receiver circuit. Clear? So what we have studied? So we have studied the interference effect and the immunity against the nonlinearities. So for these two scenario, FM is far better than the AM signal, And to overcome the interference effect, we are using P emphasis and D emphasis circuit in case of FM, and we are also observing the threshold effect that can be observed in case of FM. And next, we have studied the stereophonic FM broadcasting system. Okay, so thank you. If you have any problem, please post them.